ask you to come up with the meaning of that particular stanza. All right? I'm going to tell you the meaning, of course, but I want you to try and tell me all that you have possibly understood from that particular stanza. क्या होता है, stories are easier to understand और उनसे जो questions आते हैं they are also easier to answer comparatively. आपने एग्जाम में देखा है एक unseen passage section होता है. Unseen means something that you've never seen before. That's a section that will come in almost all of your exams. Boards में भी आता है. And that is something that you can't prepare for. That is what most people think. But you can prepare for unseen passages. And this is how you do it. Okay? How to read something so that you can answer questions about it. So this is how we're going to go parallelly about it. ठीक है? ये poem को हम ऐसे पढ़ेंगे जैसे दीदी यहाँ पे नहीं है. Imagine if I was not teaching this poem to you. How will you read it to yourself? How will you try and explain it to yourself? ऐसा होता है ना कभी कभी एग्जाम में कोई क्वेश्चन आया कोई पोएम आया I don't know what it means, right? But I have to solve it in the exam. I can't just leave it, right? So we'll try and crack the meaning like that. Okay? Poems like Upon Westminster Bridge, they come for your exams. You have to, and they come for your exams as a new poem. Like the whole paper, there's a section that you have learned already. There's an unseen section. This could be a part of things like that. Okay? So that's what we're going to look at it that way. सबको समझ में अभी तक मैं क्या बोल रही हूँ, हम लोग कैसे करने वाले हैं इस poem को? Understood? Sneha has understood? Sneha looks really confused. You understood? I'm just teasing. Sneha को समझ में आया? Sneha can hear me? I think she's having some network issues. Alright, Dildar, Lakshmi, Zainab, आपको समझ में आया मैं क्या बोल रही हूँ?
Yes, Didi.
Perfect. I want all of you all to try and turn your videos on, okay? It'll be very good if I can see you at least for today's session. All right, so we'll read a little bit about the poet. Now remember this, if a poem is coming to you for unseen passage, you won't even have this. आपको ये भी नहीं देते exam में, okay? All you will have is the poem and a couple of questions on that. आपने सबने देखा है unseen passage poem वाला अपने papers में? Have all of you guys seen it? Do you remember how it looks? Am I correct about this? Does it come or does it not come? Give me a thumbs up. देखा है ना आपने? Good. So this doesn't come usually, but this is an important part, more important when it comes to poems because आपको समझने में easy करता है, ठीक है? So this poem is by a very famous poet, okay? His name is William Wordsworth. इनका नाम आपने सुना होगा ऐसे भी, all right? Who was born on 7th April 1770, was a major English romantic poet who was an honored poet laureate of the United Kingdom in the court of Queen Victoria. थोड़ा सा complicated है जो ये लोग बोल रहे हैं. Just एक चीज I'll clarify, romantic poet ये नहीं कि वो romance लिखते हैं. Romantic एक era था, okay? उस era में जो भी poets लिखते थे वो सब romantic poets कहते हैं. अभी जो आजकल हम लोग romance पढ़ते हैं वो क्या होता है? It's a love story, right? This is a slightly different kind of romantic. Okay, so don't confuse this with that. All right? And he was a poet laureate. It used to be a very renowned post. It was like, जैसे आपकी let's say हमारे क्लास में होता है ना monitors होते हैं और like जो best student होता है जो first आता है उसका एक उसको एक title देते हैं ना कभी-कभी ऐसे करके पूरे United Kingdom के कुछ poet laureates और कुछ known very smart people हुआ करते थे उनमें से ये एक थे. Okay, in the court of Queen Victoria. From 1843 until his death on 23rd April 1850. ये एक बहुत ही important position होती है. याद है when we were reading about General Ved Prakash Malik, तो उनके सारे medals के बारे में लिखा था उनके introduction. Do you remember? Mostly whenever we read about a poet or we read the introduction of any person, उनकी जो सबसे बड़ी वाली achievement होती है वो mentioned होती है उनके introduction. So let's say if I have to talk about Dildar, then I'll talk about all the great things that he has done at Pehchaan. उन्होंने जो awards, whatever awards he's won in the past 1 year, right? And whatever he has done at school, that will be a part of Dildar's introduction if I give an introduction. Okay? Similarly, we introduce people. जो भी आपने अच्छा किया है, that comes as a part of your introduction. All right. He is a leading English nature poet. Nature poet means he writes about nature. All right. Trees, rivers. He's very famous about it. He has very, very beautiful poems. I'll send a few poems to you guys. His collection of poetry, lyrical ballads, is considered as the central work of romantic literary theory. So जो romantic era था, ऐसे ढेर सारे साल को मिला के एक romantic era था, और उन्होंने इतनी अच्छी poem लिखी थी कि उस पूरे जमाने में सबसे famous उनकी poem मानी जाती है. Okay? यहाँ तक समझ रहा है सबको? Got it? Good. The poem Upon Westminster Bridge is one of the best examples of his romantic poets. Romantic again, not प्यार, but an era. और एक era में एक type की poems लिखी जाती है. Understand it this way. आजकल एक type के गाने आते हैं ना, जो fast songs हैं. There are certain kinds of songs that come. जैसे Bollywood में देख लिया, कुछ सी type के गाने आते हैं, right? कुछ उनकी lyrics इसी एक तरीके की होती है, right? So वैसे ही हर एरा में अपना अपना टाइप का होता है. पोएट्री होती है, स्टोरीज होती है, सॉन्ग्स होते हैं. सो रोमांटिक एरा के सर्टेन काइंड्स ऑफ पोएट्री होती थी, तो दैट उसमें काफी फिट होता है ये पर्टिकुलर चीज. ओके. अपॉन वेस्टमिंस्टर ब्रिज इज अ पेट्रार्कन सोनेट. नाउ सोनेट क्या होता है पहले हम ये समझेंगे. ओके, थोड़ा सा इंपॉर्टेंट है, बहुत टेक्निकल है, आई नो, बट थोड़ा सा इंपॉर्टेंट है, तो हम लोग समझने की कोशिश करेंगे. ओके. एक सोनेट क्या होता है? अ सोनेट इज अ पोयम व्हिच हैज 14 लाइन्स. ओके. एक सोनेट, कोई भी पोयम जिसकी 14 लाइन्स होती है उसको आप सीधे सोनेट बोल सकते हो. सो लेट्स से अगर मेरे को कोई पोयम है क्वेश्चन में, और नीचे क्वेश्चन, मतलब कोई क्वेश्चन में पोयम है और नीचे उसमें सब क्वेश्चन है, इज दिस पोयम अ सोनेट? You have to just count. If it has 14 lines, yes, it's a sonnet. Okay. पेट्रार्कन सोनेट एक टाइप ऑफ सोनेट है. हमको उतने डिटेल में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, बस ये समझ ले कि सोनेट क्या होता है, वो काफी. ओके. सो सोनेट इज एनी पोएम दैट हैज 14 लाइन्स. रिमेंबर दिस, slightly important. In which William Wordsworth describes the beauty of the bridge as seen at dawn from the Westminster Bridge in London. Okay. तो वो क्या कर रहे थे? वो एक ब्रिज को क्रॉस कर रहे थे. डॉन मतलब जब फर्स्ट व्हेन सनराइज हो रहा होता है ना, दैट टाइम ऑफ द मॉर्निंग राइट बिफोर सनराइज इज कॉल्ड डॉन. ओके. यू आर जस्ट अबाउट टू हैव सनराइज, तो एकदम सुबह वाला मॉर्निंग होता है ना, दैट इज कॉल्ड डॉन. ओके. एंड देन world had to still experience the then world had to still experience the industrial revolution. Okay. That means तब तक industrial revolution नहीं हुआ था. किसी को पता है हमारी क्लास में industrial revolution क्या होता है? हमारा कोई history student है क्या हमारे बीच? Do any of us know what is the industrial revolution?
दीदी, आई थिंक हिस्ट्री रिवोल्यूशन मतलब उसमें फोकस करना, उसे बदलना या उसमें नजर डालना और उसे उसके बारे में स्टडी करना.
Okay, that's a great answer. Lakshmi, we're going to raise our hands, okay, from next time onwards when we're answering.
Okay,
but that's a great answer. Yes, Dildar, you had also raised your hand.
Yes, yes, Didi. Means इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन के बारे में हम जबकि पोएट है ना.
So मैं पूछ रही हूँ आपसे, आपको इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन के बारे में क्या पता है?
इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन के बारे में फर्स्ट ना लंदन में वो इंडस्ट्रीज डेवलप हो रही थी जब 19th सेंचुरी में, शायद नहीं 19th सेंचुरी में, बट सिंस याद नहीं आ रहा है मुझे.
Okay, that's a good answer. और होता क्या है? What did happen? Industries बन रही थी ना? There were more factories.
Yes, हाँ, more factories and labor और मतलब उधर फैक्ट्रीज का मीन्स वो पोल्यूशन क्या बोलते हो, चिमनी रहती है ना, उससे धुएं बाहर जा रहे थे वो.
Very good answer, Dildar. He's given us the right answer. बेसिकली अगर किसी भी चीज के आगे रेवोल्यूशन लगा दे, एग्रीकल्चर में भी रेवोल्यूशन हुआ था, राइट, द ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन कहते हैं उसको, इंडिया में हुआ था। किसी भी चीज के आगे रेवोल्यूशन मतलब बहुत ही अच्छी तरीके से, इन दिस केस पॉजिटिव चेंज, और बहुत एकदम से वो पूरा हमारा जो नजरिया था उसके लिए वो बदल जाता है, ठीक है। रेवोल्यूशन साइंटिफिकली बेसिकली इज, अर्थ क्या करती है, आपने सुना, रोटेशन और रेवोल्यूशन, है ना। if I'm the sun, and this is earth rotates at its spot, and then it does a revolution also around the sun, right? तो अर्थ एक रेवोल्यूशन कर लेती है तो क्या हो जाता है, एक साल हो जाता है, और एक रोटेशन कर लेती है तो क्या हो जाता है, दिन, राइट। एवरीबडी नोज दिस, आई नो यू गाइस नो, ओके। सो ये वाले, उससे ये वर्ड आता है रेवोल्यूशन, right? Revolution basically means a huge change, okay? So industrial revolution was a huge change in how industries, उससे पहले industries होती नहीं थी इतनी ज़्यादा। Industrial revolution के बाद there were a lot of factories that were built, and how दिलदार rightly said, बहुत pollution बढ़ गया था एकदम से factories बनने की वजह से, और बहुत सारी अलग चीजें हुई थी। जब factories starting में बनी थी, a lot of people had to work in those factories, right? So London was filled with people who were factory workers. So पहले लंदन की पॉपुलेशन क्या थी, there were different kind of people living, फिर वो लोग रह रहे थे, but factory workers भी बहुत सारे आ गए थे, so a lot of different things that happened, but he is talking about a time before industrial revolution, okay. The poet was enthralled by the panoramic landscape. That's a lot of good words in one sentence. What he's trying to say is कि वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा, he just saw this landscape, ये सुंदरता, इतना अच्छा काम nature, and he was very taken aback. He's like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Has this ever happened to you? This used to happen to me when I used to go to Marine Drive, because I used to see Marine Drive so many times while I was there in Mumbai. Every time I saw it, it was so beautiful, You want to stand there and look at it sometimes, right? Especially dawn ke time pe, right before sunrise, or sunset ke time pe, right? A lot of people come and watch it also. So that is being enthralled by something, right? You just want to stand there and look at it, appreciate it. Okay, just taken aback slightly. Okay. By the landscape मतलब कैसा दिख रहा है? Landscape mode पता है आपको आपके फोन में? ऐसे करके रिकॉर्ड करना. So landscape is anything जो आपको दिख रहा है सामने. Okay. Landscape, beauty, calm and quiet nature before him. Okay, because इतनी जल्दी सुबह लोग नहीं जगे होते हैं, सब कुछ quiet होता है, right? If you wake up that early in the morning, let's say before dawn is around 4-5 o'clock in the morning, okay? So everything is very calm, right? There's not a lot of noise. So that is what he's describing here. This poem was first published in the collection of poems in the 2 volumes in 1807. Okay, now we've read all about this poem. थोड़ा बहुत हमको idea लगा है. He's standing on a bridge. It's morning, dawn का time है. तब उन्होंने लिखी है. अब देखते हैं. देखो इतनी सी है ये poem. Can you guys see? It starts here and it ends on this page only. है ना? It's a very short poem, don't you think?
Yes, Didi.
Yes, it's only this long. Now let's count the number of lines that are there, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Exactly 14 lines. Okay? That is why we are describing this as a sonnet. If you are calling something a sonnet, be rest assured that it should have 14 lines. Sonnet पे बहुत सारे true or false questions आते हैं. So ऐसे याद रखना. Okay? Now, who wants to read this? We can read it in one go. We're going to read it a couple of times today. Okay? So who wants to read this first? Kisko read karne ka mana? Okay, Shahnaz, go ahead.
Upon Westminster Bridge, earth has not anything to show more fair. There would he be of Saul who could pass by a sight so touching in its majesty. The city now doth like a garment wear, the beauty of the morning silent bear. Cheap towers, domes, theatres, and temples lie open unto the onto the fields and to the sky, all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. Never did sun more beautifully stare in his first splendor, valley, rock, or hill. Never never, so I never felt a claim so deep. The right bleated at his own sweet will. Dear God, the very howl seems asleep, and all that my heart is lying still by William Wordsworth.
Very well read, Snehane. Sorry, Shahnaz has read the title and she's read the name of the poet. This is how you perfectly read a poem. Okay? Now I'll read the poem again. Let's take a look at it. But thoda thoda samajh mein aana shuru ho jayega abhi. Okay? Because William Wordsworth was famous for writing comparatively simpler poetry. Right? And hence we are using his poem as an example of understanding poems on our own. ओके क्योंकि उनका मानना था कि अगर मैं पोएम लिख रहा हूँ तो सब लोगों को पढ़ के आराम से समझ में आनी चाहिए. Everybody should be able to understand as soon as they read what I have written. Okay, let's take a look at this again. Upon Westminster Bridge. Westminster pronunciation is okay. Westminster. Earth has not anything to show more fair. Now, this sentence is slightly different from how we usually speak sentences, but it's a very simple sentence, okay? Earth has not anything to show more fair. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by. A slide so touching in its majesty. मैजेस्टी क्या होता है? सो पहले राजा महाराजा को पता क्या बोलते थे? योर मैजेस्टी. ये पढ़ा है आपने स्टोरीज में या मूवीज में देखा है? योर मैजेस्टी, राइट? समथिंग दैट मैजेस्टी मींस बहुत ही आलिशान. ओके, ऑलराइट,
आपका राज है.
yes, well, that is for the raja part. Good, but here majesty means something which is huge and it's very magnanimous. Okay, something which is बहुत ही आलिशान होता है, उसको हम majesty होते हैं. Okay, in its majesty, उसकी majesty. Okay, this city doth is your word has only, your book has only told you does. All right, this city doth like, this city now doth like a garment wear the beauty of the morning silent bear. Garment क्या होता है? कपड़ा. Okay, so उसने एक कपड़े की तरह ओढ़ी हुई है. You know how in Hindi we say it poetically, like उसने एक something की चादर ओढ़ रखी है, right? So similarly he said that in English. All right, so the city now doth like a garment wear the beauty of the morning silent bear. Okay, ships, towers, domes, theaters and temples lie. Lie matlab wo jhoot wala lie nahi, they're just lying there. Okay, he's describing everything that he can see from the bridge. Okay, he's standing on Westminster Bridge, he's looking at everything. बहुत बड़ी सी लेक है, so उसमें ships है, towers है, domes है. Domes कैसे होता है? ताजमहल के ऊपर का आपने देखा है ऐसे करके जो structure होता है, that's a dome. Okay, so domes, theaters and temples lie. Okay, open unto the fields and to the sky, all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. Okay, he's emphasizing the word smokeless. Why? Because it's so early in the morning, right? There are no cars, or in that time, let's say there are no, horse carts. Even if a horse cart goes in front of you, अगर घोड़ा गाड़ी भी आपके सामने से जा रही है तो धुआं उड़ता है ना, तो थोड़ी सी तो स्मोक आती है, लाइक थोड़ा सा तो आपको डिस्टर्बेंस दिखता है. सब कुछ क्लीन, उसकी अर्ली मॉर्निंग वाली क्लेanliness में भी सेंगी. इट्स सो अर्ली इन द मॉर्निंग दैट एवरीथिंग इज ब्राइट एंड ग्लिटरिंग. ग्लिटर सबको पता है ना, चमकीला ग्लिटर. So everything can't literally be glittering, but it almost looks like it is. Okay, never did sun more beautifully steep. Now this was dawn, अब धीरे धीरे करके sun ऊपर आ रहा है. ठीक है, स्टीप अभी हमने पढ़ा था अपने टाइगर हिल वाले में. स्टीप क्लाइंब था ना, सीधा ऊपर, तो सन सीधे ऊपर आ रहा है. ओके, स्टीप. ऑलराइट, इन हिज फर्स्ट स्प्लेंडर वैली रॉक और हिल. यहाँ पे सन को हिज बोल रहे हैं वो. ओके, आपने इस पोएटिक डिवाइस को पहले भी करा होगा. इट्स कॉल्ड personification. Do you guys remember? We did this together. Personification मतलब कोई भी ऐसी चीज जो कि इंसान नहीं है उसको इस इंसान बना के उसके बारे में बात करो. Okay? So let's say if I say my phone, she has not been doing so well these days, then my phone is not a she. My phone is not alive, right? But I'm personifying my phone. Similarly, he's personifying the sun right now. Okay? In his first splendor, valley, rock or hill. ठीक है? कभी भी इतना सुंदर सनराइज किसी ने नहीं देखा होगा. भले ही आप वैली से देख लो, you know, rock से, hill से देख लो, you know, पहाड़ियों से if you see the sunrise, it's said that it looks very beautiful, right? It's said people in a lot of mountain areas when you go घूमने के लिए, people say please look at the sunrise, it look very nice. So he's saying इतना सुंदर तो वहां से भी नहीं लगता होगा. Okay? Never saw I, never felt a calm so deep. Now he's talking about his own feelings. Right now, when he's standing here on this bridge, when everything is silent, he's never felt a calm so deep. Okay? The river glideth. Glide matlab उस पे बहना. Okay? नदी जो बहती है. Okay? Glideth, TH इसलिए बोला है because old English में लिख रहे हैं वो. Okay? At his own, again the river is also personified, at his own sweet will. Dear God, the very houses seem asleep, and all that mighty heart is lying still. Okay? Now I'm going to stop sharing the poem for a minute. I want to look at your faces. Okay, tell me, किस को कितनी poem समझ में आई? थोड़ी सी आई, ज़्यादा सी आई, कितनी आई समझ में आपको poem? Yes, sure.
From this poem, I understand the morning scene before sun rising.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a great answer, Shana. She's understood where the scene is set in. And in this particular poem, the scene is all the poem is about. ठीक है, क्या दिख रहा है पोएट को, उसी की वजह से वो लिख रहा है. That is his inspiration. Okay? Yes, Lakshmi.
Yes, दीदी, बेसिकली ये अर्थ से रिलेटेड है. वो इन्वायरमेंट के बारे में बता रहे हैं कि हमारा नेचर कितना अच्छा है, पर इंडस्ट्री वगैरह से हमारा नेचर खराब हो जाता है. यही सब रिलेटेड.
It is, well, your answer is half of it is correct. He is talking about nature, but in this particular poem, he is not exactly saying that खराब हो जाता है. He's not talking about human beings spoiling nature, but yes, he's hinting towards it, right? Because he's saying that everything is asleep, you know, all the people are asleep so early in the morning. And hence this nature looks so beautiful on its own. Okay? Yes, Muskan.
He is describing sunshine, how it looks like in morning time.
Yes, very good. He's describing how the sunrise, we'll talk about sunrise, okay, in the morning time. And yes, he's definitely describing that. One of the main themes of the poem. How the sun is rising slowly, that's something that is catching his eye. Right. What other answers do we have? और क्या-क्या समझा हमने इस poem से? Okay, I think we have answered quite a few good questions. Like, you've given me a lot of things about the poem, okay? That means most of you guys have understood what the poet is trying to say. If I ask you questions about this poem right now, you should be able to answer it. ठीक है? But उसके लिए हमको क्या करना पड़ा? उसको कम से कम 2 बार read करना पड़ेगा, है ना? थोड़े बहुत words का meaning we have to try and understand. And then we'll be able to understand at least a couple of things about the poem. Okay? So this is how I want you to go about solving things when it comes for an exam. You're going to look at the poem one more time. Okay? We're going to read it one more time. And then this time I'm going to explain the meaning to you. But I want someone to read the poem for me. Okay? So who wants to read? Kisko read karne ka man hai? Yes, go ahead. Who said may I?
Me, Muskan.
Okay. Muskan, I want you to read it. Then Dildar, I'm going to ask you also to read it. Go ahead, Muskan.
Upon Westminster Bridge, earth has not anything to show more fair. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by, a sight so touching in its majesty. This city now doth like a garment where the beauty of morning silent bear, ships, towers, domes, theaters, and temples lie open unto the fields and to the sky, all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. Never did sun more beautifully sleep in his first slender valley, rock, or hill. Never saw I never felt a calm so deep. The river glittered at his own sweet will. Dear God, the very houses seem asleep, and all that mighty heart is lying still.
Well done. Let's do this. Let's have Dildar also read it right after, right after Muskan has finished. And then we will discuss a little bit more and then I'll explain the entire poem, okay? Come on, Dildar, go ahead.
Okay, Didi. Upon Westminster Bridge, earth has not anything to show more fair. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by, aside to touching in its majesty. This city now doth like a garment wear, the beauty of morning, silent bear. Ships, towers, domes, streets, and temples lie open into the field and to the sky, all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. Never did sun more beautifully steep in his first splendor, valley, rock, or hill. Never saw I, never felt a claim so deep. The river glittered at his own sweet will. Dear God, the very houses seem asleep, and all that majesty heart is lying still.
Well done. Both of you guys have read really well. And the best thing about poems, guys, is that the more we read it, the more because it's so short, it starts sounding more familiar. हमको थोड़ी अच्छे से समझ में आने लगती है. And because it's so short, it's not very difficult to read it again and again. Have you ever done this with a chapter before? We can never read a chapter 5 times in a class, right? But with poems, you can, okay? Most students that I've had have always been afraid of poems. So this time I'm trying to teach it in such a way that you guys can never be afraid of poems, okay? Now let's take a look at this and I'll explain the whole thing to you, okay? And I'll tell you all the things that you can understand from this. All right. So we will start with the title. It's Upon my pen has really Upon Westminster Bridge. Okay. He is right now. So the actual complete title of the poem is when you are crossing the Westminster Bridge. Okay. So that's what the title is about. He's crossing Westminster Bridge. That Westminster Bridge was a very, famous sort of a bridge. Let's say, abhi we have Worli Sea Link, no? Have all of you guys gone through Worli Sea Link once? Aisa dekha hai dur se? That is a very famous, that's a very famous bridge, right? All of us know about it. I can say the name and everyone can see the picture of how it looks, right? Similarly, Westminster Bridge at that time in London was one of the biggest bridges, okay? It was very beautiful. It was very famous, all right? So जब कोई भी चीज ऐसे फेमस होती है तो मोस्टली there are very many people around it. उसको बहुत सारे लोग देखने आते हैं, right? कोई भी चीज जो फेमस होती है वो. So similarly, Westminster Bridge पे भी हमेशा लोग होते ही थे. It was a major bridge, right? If you want to go somewhere, you had to cross that bridge, right? But so early in the morning, it's so early in the morning that for the first time, our poet is looking at this Westminster Bridge when it's empty, right? Everything is quiet. All the ships, all the towers, all the domes, theaters, everything they just lie. वो just लेटे हुए हैं. Lie down मतलब लेट जाना. Okay? One is lie, झूठ बोलना. That's not the lie we're talking about. Here the lie down is lying wala, just staying still, lying down. Okay? That is लेट जाने वाला. Okay? So they just lie. All right? Let's start from the first line. Earth has not anything to show more. यहाँ पे इन्होंने word use किया है fair. Fair actually here means नॉट गोरा वाला फेयर बट सुंदर वाला फेयर, ओके, इम्पोर्टेंट वाला फेयर, लाइक इतना ज्यादा सुंदर कोई चीज अर्थ में है नहीं दिखाने के लिए, ओके. सो दिस इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज अ हाइपरबोली. इन हिंदी वी कॉल इट अतिशयोक्ति, किसी चीज को बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ा चढ़ा के. Now अतिशयोक्ति and hyperbole, Hindi is very good Hindi, English is very good English, so I can understand it's confusing. Something, किसी चीज को बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ा चढ़ा के बोलना. आपने कभी ऐसे सुना है? मेरे को ऐसा लगता है मेरा तो सर ही फट जाएगा. किसी का सर फटा है आजकल हेडेक, आज तक हेडेक से. हम लोग बोलते हैं ना मेरा सर फट जाएगा, यू नो. और मेरे को इतनी भूख लगी है, मेरे को लगता है कि मैं तो सब कुछ खा लूंगी, मैं पूरा घर खा जाऊंगी. राइट, वी से इट लाइक दिस नो समटाइम्स. That is exaggerating, किसी चीज को बढ़ा चढ़ा के बोलना. Okay, so that is what a hyperbole is. So now एक ब्रिज पे खड़े होके सिंह की पूरी अर्थ में इतना सुंदर कुछ भी नहीं है. That is a hyperbole. Okay, remember this word, it's a good word, it comes for exams. Okay, so here it's an example of hyperbole. Okay, dull would he be of soul, उसकी आत्मा ही इतनी बोरिंग. डल मीन्स बोरिंग होता है, ठीक है. इन दिस केस यू कैन से ही इज अ वेरी डल पर्सन. दैट मीन्स सो डल का ऑपोजिट क्या होता है? ब्राइट, शाइनिंग, स्मार्ट. राइट, स्मार्ट. सो आपको अगर किसी वर्ड का मीनिंग नहीं समझ में आ रहा तो आप यूज, मतलब आपको एग्जैक्टली बता नहीं पा रहे हो तो आप सोचो मोस्टली इसका ऑपोजिट हम क्या यूज करते हैं. राइट, सो डल वुड ही बी, मतलब डल मतलब ऐसे पूरे टाइम सैड, यू नो, दैट्स अ डल पर्सन.
Lazy people.
Yes, lazy, not exactly, but yes, you're getting the rough idea. Okay, dull would he be of soul, उसकी आत्मा ही इतनी dull होगी, who could pass by a sight so touching in its majesty. अगर ऐसी इतनी सुंदर चीज को भी आप सिर्फ देख के चले जाओ, आपको कुछ फील ना हो, तो आपकी फीलिंग्स ही कम होगी, मुझे ऐसा लगता है. क्योंकि इतनी ज्यादा सुंदर सा ये, यू नो, इतनी सुंदर सी ये जगह है कि किसी को भी खुश फील कराती है, ऐसे बोल रही हूँ. ओके, so a sight so touching. Touching means आप बोलते हो ना, it's a very you know, I'm very touched by this, मतलब मेरे को बहुत फील करवाया है इस चीज ने. Okay, something which is very touching means it's making you feel something. All right, in its majesty, इतना आलिशान है कि आप ऐसे देखते ही रह जाते हो उसको. It's so beautiful. Oh my God. Right, another very good word for this is it's breathtaking. Breathtaking मतलब मेरे को, मतलब ऐसे, you know, ऐसे करते हैं ना हम लोग, कितना सुंदर है. That's breathtaking. All right. This city now doth को we'll just use it as does. Okay. This city now does like a garment wear. तो एक बहुत ही बड़ी, you know, like a garment, like a huge blanket, चादर, किसी भी चीज को कवर कर रही है पूरा. The beauty of the morning. ठीक है, एक कपड़े की तरह पहनी हुई है इस सिटी ने इस मॉर्निंग की ब्यूटी को. Right? अभी तक he was describing the bridge and the general idea कि कितना सब कुछ सुंदर है. Now he's telling us what time of the day it is. What time of the day is it? It's in the morning. Okay? The morning is silent and the morning is bare. Bare means जिसपे कुछ ना हो. Okay? Show me your bare hands. That means there's nothing else on your hands. Okay? Show me your bare hands. Or, you know, you should, yeah, let's understand it this way. Bare मतलब उसपे कुछ भी लगा हुआ नहीं. Right? All right? So bare मतलब खाली एकदम. Okay? The morning is silent and it's bare. Ships, towers, domes, theaters, temples lie. Okay? Ships mostly क्या होता है? शिप से धुआं आ रहा होता है, शिप चल रही होती है ना? सबको पता है शिप कैसी लगती है, right? So ship has a lot of things going on. Towers is basically the buildings, जो tall buildings होती है, those are our towers. उसमें भी कुछ ना कुछ खिटपिट चल रहा होता है पूरे टाइम, right? Domes is just describing architecture. Again, I told you, in this particular line, he's telling us all that he's seeing. Let's say when I stand, have you ever stood on Marine Drive and looked behind? There are a lot of buildings, right? There is, you know, let's say if you're standing on certain place on Marine Drive, you can see Hotel Taj, just you can see a dome also. That's exactly what he's describing. वो जहाँ पे खड़े हैं, उसको उनको जो दिख रहा है, he's telling us all about it. Okay? So ships दिख रही हैं, towers दिख रहे हैं, domes दिख रहे हैं. Dome मतलब ऐसे जो in Hindi we call it a गुम्बद, right? ऐसे ऊपर से होता है ना, ऐसे सर्कल सा. आपने टेम्पल्स में देखा है? ताजमहल में है व्हाइट कलर का डोम, बड़ा सा. One person is going, yes. It's like a huge, I'm going to show you a picture. I'll show you a picture in the next class. Okay, that's a dome. Theaters is basically theaters जहाँ पे acting वगैरह, तब तो movie halls होते नहीं थे. Theaters were very big in London at that time. And temples. Here in their case it would be churches. In our case it would be temples of all kinds. They just lie. Okay. सिर्फ लेटे हुए हैं, कुछ movement नहीं है, कोई लोग भी नहीं दिख रहे, इतना सुबह का time है. Okay. Open unto the fields, not into unto. Okay, these days we don't use words like unto. It actually means into only. Okay, a lot of words here are just आजकल जो हम use करते हैं so थोड़ा सा different करते हैं because it was a different time. Alright, there's no other reason why he's written it this way. Okay, open unto the fields and to the sky. Okay, ये सब कुछ तो है. उसके अलावा क्या क्या है? You can see the fields, you can see the sky. Alright, he's describing everything that you can see. When he's wherever he's standing, वहां से जो कुछ भी दिख रहा है, he's describing all of that. Alright, all bright and glittering. Okay, जो चमकीला होता है ना, that is glittering. I mostly have at least one thing that is glittering. Right now I don't, but something that is glittering. Okay. In the smokeless air. Now this is important because it's so early in the morning. Let's say this is before Industrial Revolution, but still there were a few factories still coming up. तो कोई factories नहीं चल रही हैं, कोई भी cars, कोई भी घोड़ा गाड़ी कुछ भी नहीं है. तो पूरी जो air क्या है एकदम clean है, साफ है. Okay. So in this smokeless air, never did sun more beautifully steep. Now again, this is also hyperbole. Sun हमेशा एक ही जैसे steep करता है, ठीक है? ऐसा नहीं है कि वो खड़े होके देख रहे हैं तो अलग से sun steep कर रहा है. No. Every time we have a sunrise, it's the same, no? If I stand and look at it, I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. But that is one time I've seen it. All the other days also it was happening. It was just the same. I had not seen. Okay? So this is also a hyperbole. Okay? In his first splendor, okay, now he's personifying. यहाँ पे his लिखा है ना, so this is personification. Okay, this is personification. Slightly important. Let's understand it. His बोल रहे हैं. Okay, तो बड़ा सा arrow आ गया. His. Okay. But sun is not his, he or she. Sun is it, right? Sun का कोई gender नहीं होता. So he's personifying sun as a person. Okay. His splendor, valley, rock or hill. मतलब कहीं पे भी कहीं से भी आप sunrise देख लो, इतना सुंदर तो कभी नहीं होता. Again hyperbole. Okay. Never saw I, never felt a calm so deep. ठीक है? इसको 2-3 लोगों ने clam पढ़ा है. It's a calm. Okay, clam एक बहुत ही अलग चीज होती है. It's a kind of fish. Okay, but this is not clam. It is calm. Calm मतलब वो शांति और peace वाला calm. Okay, कई बार हम लोगों को बोलते हैं calm down, calm down. That means शांत. If somebody is shouting and yelling a lot, one thing that you can say to them in English, definitely foolproof. You can tell him to calm down, him or her to calm down. Okay, calm down. All right. So here he's talking about calm. एकदम शांत feel हो रहा है. A calm, sorry, a calm so deep मतलब calm deep थोड़ी ना होता है. जितना शांत हूँ मैं हूँ, right? But here उनको उस calmness की, उसको और describe करने के लिए he's using the word deep. ठीक है? इतना ज़्यादा calm feel हो रहा है उनको. That the calmness is also so deep. Okay. The river glideth at his own sweet will. Glide करना मतलब किसी चीज के ऊपर से बह के जाना. Okay, that is gliding. Alright, th को आप छोड़ दो, that is old English का, but glide करना means किसी चीज के ऊपर से जाना. Okay, that is gliding. Right? So let's say आपके skate, आपने roller skates देखे? They glide on the surface. All right, they are on the surface, they're gliding on the surface. Yeah, like right now my other hand is gliding over my head. Okay, this is exactly what gliding is. So नदी बहती है ना ऐसे ऐसे करके, surface के ऊपर से glide करके, right? So that is what he's describing. The river is gliding at his own sweet will. Again, the river is being personified. And own sweet will मतलब अपने हिसाब से चल रही है वो नदी. Now, of course, we don't know whether वो अपने हिसाब से चल रही है कि नहीं, because नदी का अपना हिसाब ही नहीं होता, right? Because it's not living. But he's personifying it and he's describing it this way. Okay? ऐसा लग रहा है कि नदी अपने हिसाब से चल रही है, उसका जैसे मन कर रहा है वहां जाके. Okay? Dear God, the very houses seem asleep. Now this is again hyperbole. I know at this point I've been saying hyperbole for every line only, but that is how many times he's used it. Okay. So, dear God, the very houses seem asleep. What does this mean? कि इतनी ज़्यादा शांति है, इतना ज़्यादा सब कुछ quiet है, that it feels that जो घर है, all the houses are only sleeping. Forget people. People are sleeping. It looks like the houses are also sleeping. Okay? That's how quiet it is so early in the morning. Okay? And all that mighty heart is lying still. Majesty अलग है. Mighty is अलग. Okay? Mighty मतलब ढेर सारा courage. Okay? He's a very mighty person. मतलब वो बहुत ही courageous, बहुत ही वो है. I can't come up with it.
What is meant by courage?
Exactly. Courage means किसी में बहुत दम. Yes, दम होना. Okay? And बोलते हैं उसमें बहुत ही दम है उसमें.
Powerful.
Yeah, powerful. But दम also कि वो निडर. Okay?
हिम्मत
is निडर. Alright? But here, sorry, who was saying? किसने?
Means Didi, strong person.
Yeah, a mentally strong person. Physically strong is different. Mentally strong. Okay, that is courageous. Mighty means कोई जिसमें जो बहुत ही ज़्यादा strong and mighty साथ में use करते हैं. Huge person. Mighty means, one second. I was just gonna.
Yes, दीदी, जैसे वो अंदर से बहुत ही करक है, मतलब बहुत ही हिम्मत वाला है, बाहर से कैसा भी दिखता हो.
Yes, बाहर से कैसा भी दिखता हो. Yes, it's basically, what the kind of words that Lakshmi was giving me were actually correct. कोई बहुत ही strong force होना, strong होना, that is being mighty. Okay. So mighty heart is being used for human beings. Okay. That he is sort of ऐसे sarcastic comment है human beings के लिए. Okay. Sarcastic क्या होता है? ऐसे मजाक तो नहीं, but ऐसे. Okay, I'll give you a live example of sarcasm. Okay, let's say आप घर में कुछ कर रहे हो और आपसे एक प्लेट गिर जाए गलती से, मम्मी क्या बोलती है? हाँ, तोड़ दो, पूरा घर दो. Right? That's a sarcastic comment. All right? Or let's say हाँ नहीं, a better example of sarcasm is like हाँ बेटा, और गिरा दो, सब कुछ गिरा दो. That's a sarcastic thing to say. Okay, she doesn't mean it. She's just saying it in sarcasm. Okay, so this is a sort of sarcastic comment on people, on all of us. ये जो आप अपने आप को बहुत ही strong और mighty समझते हो ना, आप सब लोग सोए हुए हो. Only nature is working right now. Okay, nature is the only thing that's alive. Nature is the only thing that is huge and that is at its best right now. Okay, so all that mighty heart, all you people are just sleeping. All your buildings, your ships and towers, everything is asleep. The only thing that's working, that is the sun that is rising अपने मन से, is the river that is flowing अपने मन से. Okay? ये समझा सबको?
Yes, दीदी.
Yes.
दीदी, इनकी कल्पना शक्ति कितनी अच्छी है ना, इन्होंने क्या लॉजिक लगाया है ना.
That's a very good word, Lakshmi. In English, we'll call it imagination. And yes, he's a very good at imagination, a very, very famous poet. Famous for a reason, right? But okay, everybody understood what this poet is trying to say. If not every word, we understood what the poem is about.
Yes, Didi.
Yes?
Yes,
Perfect. I could see that most of you could get it. So now this is what poems are about, especially sonnets, because they're so short. I love sonnets. एक छोटा सा poem है, 14 lines का ऐसा. बट उसमें ढेर सारी मीनिंग्स. आपने देखा कितना सारा हमने बात किया ना उसके बारे में. एक पोएम के बारे में हमने ऑलमोस्ट उतना बात किया जितना हम लोग 3-4 पेजेस एक चैप्टर के बारे में बात करते हैं. राइट? सो दैट इज द स्पेशलिटी अबाउट पोएम्स. थोड़े से वर्ड्स में ढेर सारी चीजें कहना. ओके? हिंदी में भी बहुत सुंदर सुंदर पोएम्स होती है, आपने वो भी पढ़ी होंगी. right? जो मैं mostly songs वगैरह होते हैं, the lyrics of songs is very similar to poems, है ना? It's not like a story. Most times it's about emotions, right? So that is what poems are about. I personally, I love poems. And I remember being taught like this poem last year in Pehchaan, my Didi was teaching. So she taught me also this poem. And I was very happy to hear it from her because she teaches this poem very well. What I'll do is I'm going to look for that recording because that's also on our YouTube. And I'll send that to you guys also. Okay. You can watch that also for your revision. All right. But basically, the reason why we did this poem, like we did it today, was because I want you guys to know that even if it's a poem that is coming in the exam, and I know it will because it does, don't be afraid of the poem, first of all. Okay?
दीदी,
Yes, Lakshmi.
दीदी हिस्ट्री ऑफ ड्रामा ये भी आने वाला एग्जाम में.
आपके स्कूल ने, आपके कॉलेज ने बोले हिस्ट्री ऑफ ड्रामा आ रहा है?
Yes, दीदी.
Okay, we'll do it. So the thing is, some colleges, some junior colleges do it, some don't. That's why sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. Isliye, that is why in the last quiz that I had given to you guys, उसमें I had given an option. Yes, और कौन सा chapter है जो आपने कराया हो, आपके स्कूल में कराया है जो हमने नहीं कराया अभी, right? Because after this poem, we have mostly finished our syllabus from our side. 2 more poems are left, but those poems usually are not taught at school, at least right now, because some of the syllabus got scraped, right, due to COVID. So this is one of the last poems in our syllabus. So abhi is the best time for you to sit and see, okay, ये सब मेरे को दीदी ने और मैम ने पहचान में करा दिया है, ये सब मेरे को कॉलेज में करा दिया, और ऐसी क्या चीज़ है जो कॉलेज में करा है पहचान में नहीं करा. So let us know, okay, and we'll cover that. That's not an issue. All right, so history of drama is something that Lakshmi ke college mein karaya, so we'll try and get this done. Okay, perfect. So the reason why we're doing this poem like this is because it does come for the exam, and I want you guys to not be scared of it. Read it 2-3 times and just solve it. You'll understand the meaning. Okay, most of you could understand the meaning on your own. All right, so read this poem ek baar khud se. Okay, if you have doubts, post them on the group. We have to practice articles right now, the one that we did in the last class. So we're going to have a practice exercise for that. And then in the next class, we are also going to do something grammar related, something English related, okay? You know how there were a lot of poetic devices. ये जो मैं चीजें बोल रही थी ना, hyperbole, personification. ये सब क्या था? ये poetic devices होते हैं. इनको हम use
Figure of speech.
Yes, they're also called figure of speech. Very well done, Lakshmi. So they're also called figures of speech. And yes, अब हम लोग क्यों use करते हैं? ताकि जो कुछ भी मैं बोल रही हूँ, लिख रही हूँ, बहुत सुंदर. Okay, like हम लोग makeup लगाते हैं ना, या earrings और jewelry पहनते हैं. Similarly, this figures of speech is like the jewelry or the perfume, let's say in terms of guys, is the jewelry or the perfume of writing. All right. So we're going to read a little bit more about that. हम लोग different type के वो समझेंगे. Okay, that's what we're going to do in the next class. A lot of you guys have given great feedback for the question answers that were there in the quiz. Everybody do it. Read the questions carefully, and then we'll discuss those things, okay? Whatever you guys have doubts in. All right. So this mostly concludes our class for today. किसी को कोई doubts है poem के बारे में? No? सबको समझा?
No, Didi.
Perfect. Give me a thumbs up if you have understood. Muskan, give me a heart. That's all. Okay, Muskan has a doubt. Everybody has given thumbs up. Muskan, क्या doubt है आपको?
No, Dee, I have been talking out.
Okay, it's very sweet of you to give me a heart then. All right, so everybody's understood it. एक बार खुद से read करना, आपको पूरी और भी अच्छे से समझ में आएगी. Okay? Best thing about poems is short, so read them as much as possible. Okay? और मैंने ढेर सारी मीनिंग्स बताई हैं आज. अगर खुद से आपको पढ़ के ऐसी न्यू सी मीनिंग भी दिखती है ना अपनी ओर से, तो भी मुझे बताना. Vicky, did you just unmute yourself? I have not heard you all day long. मुझे लगा ही नहीं कि आप आए हो क्लास में. Can you hear me? Okay, I think he's having some network issues. All right, guys. I had a great time teaching this poem to you. We're going to revise it and then we're going to do poetic devices, okay, in the next class. All right? I love you guys. Stay safe. Yes, Vicky, go ahead.
दीदी मेरे को चैप्टर से नहीं, मेरे को थोड़ा हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन था.
Can I hop on a call with you after this and can we talk about this?
Okay.
Perfect. All right. I love you guys, and I'll see you next Thursday. Okay, same time. Maybe we'll delay the time though. Maybe we'll make it 6 or 7. I'll get back to you about that. Okay.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.